before we got started?
No.
How unprofessional.
I couldn't do it because we were
gosh.
doing our little beatbox thing.
My gosh. You actually did pretty good. I was going to try to change the little beat up to see if it threw you off too much, but I knew you'd start laughing too.
I would have been able to follow along.
Okay.
You know I can do this.
Girl, please.
We do the whole clapping thing all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
This is my new lip gloss. I am loving it.
Obsessed.
Yeah, I had to take one back to Ulta because I didn't like it. Didn't like the color at all. And it's not just the color. Like, you know what? On lip gloss, the brush matters. Like, the lip gloss that I had gotten, it had a tiny little brush, and it was like pointy. It was like straight. It was weird. And that was part of what I didn't like. And then I didn't like the color, and so I found this one, and I love it.
So this is a little...
Shout out Riri. Riri's killing
Yeah, I was about to say, give the name. Shout out because they want to sponsor us.
Fenty Beauty. I'm sure Fenty Beauty wants to sponsor us.
This is going to be a little weird because Annie wanted to do this where we're facing each other versus like the camera. So it is intentional that we're not looking at the camera. So just kind of bear with us. And
this is all if you're watching on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. We'll do an episode or two, and we'll decide if we like it or if we like looking at the camera. So
I don't think I like the side view from the hair standpoint.
Yeah,
like
I bet you don't look at me. You hardly ever look at me anyway. So
what are you talking
it'll
about?
be interesting because like the side angle is not my best angle. Just because I'm a little thick in the neck area. If you know what I'm saying.
It's not really anybody's best angle, but it'll be okay.
That guy that we watched on Netflix, where he spends like $2 million a year on his health, his side profile is fine. He's good to go.
Yeah, but his hair is.
I got better
fine.
hair than him.
I don't know what he's spending $2 million on, but it ain't hair supplements because it's Lord. And you know what? If there ever comes a time where you decide to wear a crop top to the gym, our relationship is done.
That's it. That's a wrap.
That is a deal breaker. That is a solid ick, and I will never have it.
Okay, I think you're safe there. In fact, I know you're safe there.
Can we be more definite?
You have nothing to worry about.
We have more definitive
Yeah.
statement around that. Oh, geez. Well, happy New Year.
It is 2025.
It's 2025.
This, I swear, last year.
That's more than a decade. That's a quarter century.
Yeah. A decade's 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. A quarter century.
Quarter century.
So last year flew by. Mm-hmm. I mean, it absolutely flew. December flew by. Like it was, I don't know. I mean, I probably feel like I say this every year, but that might have been the fastest year ever.
Yeah, and there's some science behind that, and, you know, I can't think of it right this second. However...
Well, you're not a scientist,
No,
so...
but in all my spiritual modalities, they definitely talk about... There is a principle of this whole time moving faster, and I want to say it's something along the lines of... Okay, we'll have to move past it.
Yeah, in talent school, they teach us to move on, and then we'll come back to it.
We will come back to it, but it is, in fact, moving faster.
All right, cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool, but I'll come back to it because it doesn't matter if I can't explain it.
What I said is founded on science, then, it sounds like.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. I don't know if science is the right word, but it's founded on something, perhaps.
It is. Oh, gosh. So, you know, it being a new year, so the new year happened in the middle of a week, which always makes it kind of strange. So, like, that week of New Year was, like, the longest year, I feel like, ever.
Yeah.
And so, like, New Year's resolutions for people like me that feel like you're only going to start something on a Monday. What are you looking at?
What is on your leg right there?
I painted.
I'm sorry.
I painted.
And you decided to wear your tights while you did that?
Well, yes. And so, I really wasn't thinking that the paint roller would still be wet, and so it like was glued on there almost, and so I was trying to get it off and I couldn't get a good grip on it, and so I was holding it in between my legs, like trying to pull it off, and then realized, oh shit, it's also still wet paint. So yeah, there's
awesome.
Penalties, but you know what, they still wear fine, so I'm gonna wear them. So.
Sorry, go ahead.
What was I saying?
New Year's resolutions.
Okay, so New Year's resolutions. First of all, do you do New Year's resolutions?
I don't feel like I do. I mean, I didn't this year. I don't feel like I typically do. If I do, it's more just kind of conversation more than anything else. But
I definitely do not do resolutions because I know myself and I know I'm not going to keep them, and I think they're just and honestly,
but most people,
I think some people
they say I'm going to exercise, I'm going to diet,
and so it was tricky for people this year because New Year happened on.
Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Yeah,
it was Wednesday. But yet, most people aren't going to start something new
No
in the
way.
middle of a week.
No
You're going to
way.
start on
Makes
Monday,
no
which is
sense, yeah.
technically
It was like the 6th or
6th.
something like that.
So that, I think, was
Which
a
I made a
trick.
TikTok about. I thought was great, but it didn't get the love I thought it was going to get. But whatever. People don't see it. It was so what I'm doing the protein shake, and I was like, so let me guess, y'all going to wait until next Monday to start or something like that.
Yeah.
And I showed the calendar. I thought it was a good one, but
Well,
whatever.
I've already told you why that. You wanted to not take my suggestion,
I
but whatever.
did. Backfired.
That's an issue for people when it comes to resolutions and this whole dry January. So it's like, did you start on Wednesday when Georgia was still playing on it was supposed to be Thursday, but it got pushed to Friday, I think, because of everything that happened.
I think it was going to be Wednesday, got pushed to Thursday, but anyhow.
What happened in New Orleans. And so, which that was scary and crazy, especially for people that were down there at the game.
And I hate to say this, but I'm honestly surprised that we don't see more of that when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people together. But what's so scary about it is it can literally happen anytime, anywhere, to anyone. And when you think about like tours, going on vacations and touring, and it's just I don't know. It is a scary, scary feeling to think that at any point your life can change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because of some idiot that is mad at the world or has an agenda or whatever it might be. So I don't know. It's frustrating, and of course, you're sad for all the families and people that were injured. I mean, it's I don't know. It's insane. The world we live in.
And I'm really surprised. Like, I think it had to have had some sort of impact, you would think, on these football players, these kids being down there. Because they're kids. I mean, at the end of the day, yes. Okay, are they 22, 23 years old probably? I mean, I don't even know how old the oldest one is. But they're still kids.
Yeah.
And, thinking about their families possibly being down there watching them, wondering, are their families okay? Were they in that or whatever? And that had to have been really hard for everybody, but I'm glad.
Yeah, man, there were people on Facebook that I'm friends with on Facebook that said they were down there, and they were like, we were literally in the same exact spot like an hour before this happened. You know what I mean? It could have been them. I mean, it's
so
scary.
Glad that it wasn't.
It's scary.
It really is. So that was going on. I don't do resolutions either. However, I am doing a challenge. It's a 30-day challenge. It's a move your body challenge. So somebody that I listen to on a podcast, she is just trying to get people moving in their bodies, which I absolutely need because we both know that I'm not even sure when the last time it was that I went to the gym. I feel like next time I go, they're going to be like, I'm sorry, ma'am, you no longer have a membership here. But I know that I do because it comes out of the account. But I am a little worried about that. So anyway, I'm kind of just trying to ease myself back into it because the whole thought of going to the gym I don't know why, it just seems like a struggle right this second for me. So I'm like, well, at least if I can do this, that will maybe ease me into it. So anyway, I'm doing a whole 30-day move your body, trying to move your body, do something every day. And so I've been I think I've done pretty much something every day.
Do you think that subconsciously you're a little nervous about going to the gym because you don't want to be deemed as that person that like is a resolution gym guy,
No.
or like in the back of your mind, is that weighing on at all?
No, I think I'm just still not 100% ready to be there. I don't know. I don't know. I can't really say what it is. It's just I don't want to be there.
And that's one thing that I have learned over the years with you in particular, and I'm sure other people are like this, is no matter what I want to do, or like, I want to go to gym, I want to go to the gym together, like once I have asked a few times and you're not interested, like I realize I'm not ever going to talk you into that.
When did you learn that? This year?
No.
It was like October you finally stopped asking?
Well, I did, but I'm still going to ask a few times, but like after a few times, like, okay, I'm done. Like I've tried to make it a point that I want to go. I want her to go with me if she doesn't want to do it, but I'm still going to ask a few times. It's not like it's like one and done.
Well, and I told you the other day, like I wouldn't mind going with you on like a Saturday or Sunday. I don't have any interest in going with you Monday through Friday because the way that you go in and attack the gym is not how I want to go in to attack the gym. And so when I go with you, I feel very much I have to be on your time schedule. And that doesn't give me the time to do the things that I then want to do.
So you're doing this Move Your Body Challenge.
I'm trying.
Which you've done every day.
Yeah, but I signed up for this chair yoga program. They got me. I mean, I bought it. It's a 30-day.
How much of these fucking programs? I swear, every time I talk to your ass, you're buying another damn program.
This is a yoga thing. And so I have been doing this yoga, even though I do think it's not gotten
We're going to be in the poorhouse.
more difficult.
You are going to be the most overdeveloped, overtrained, over-spiritual person I have ever met in my entire life. Because all these damn programs, but whatever. If it makes you happy,
more people in your life.
if
like
it makes
that.
you happy, then roll with it.
First of all, this has nothing to do with
But you're
spirit.
also doing dry
This is
January.
actually moving your body
Right, but
and yoga and stretching, which I need because my freaking
I agree.
hip. What
Because-
is that face for?
Because I'm trying to say, you're talking about this is not spiritual. You were on a call earlier today that was more
but
along
the yoga is not.
No,
Why
but that's
are
a
you-
program as well. Yes or no?
Which one?
Is that one that you sign up for?
Which one?
The one that you're on the call for today.
It's not a program.
Okay, you trying to get me on a technicality. What is it then, Annie? Because I know it's some shit you paid for. What do you want to call this one? A class?
It's a community.
Oh, it's a community. So we're paying for communities. Okay, I got you.
But here's the good news. I've got one that I'm going to be canceling, and it will end, I think, in March is when it ends.
Okay.
So I'm making us money.
Okay, it's good to know.
I've made us all kinds of money recently, actually.
So you're doing the movement thing. You've got a couple of these communities / groups. You're doing Dry January.
I am.
Or you have at least. How about we had one friend? This was like, I don't know, 3-4 days ago. So today is the 9th. Let's say it was on the 6th. This girl talking about, I'm trying this Dry January and I ain't lost any weight yet. And I'm like, we going through one weekend. Like they're a social drinker like we are, right? You don't normally drink during the week. You drink on a weekend. I'm like, you expected to lose weight.
First of all, she didn't need to lose any damn weight.
That's true, but I was like, you expected to lose weight from not drinking that one weekend.
Drinks that they don't have any sugar in them. They don't have, like, she drinks like club soda and vodka.
Yeah,
like it's gross. So I don't know what she.
Mike says this is the skinny drink.
I don't know why she thinks she'd be losing weight.
Anyways,
but,
I just thought that was funny.
And she doesn't need to. But yes, so Dry January is a thing. Some people are doing damp, which what I understand, damp January is just drinking on the weekends.
Makes no sense to me, but
is what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
So I think we do drink.
We're damn drinkers anyway.
Damp drinkers.
Damp drinkers anyway. That's we ought to start saying that. Do you drink? So I'm a damp drinker. Like when you're filling out the doctor's form, I'm a damp drinker.
Yeah.
Just to see. Did you mean damn? No, I meant damp.
Damp. I'm a damp drinker. Not luckily, like Georgia played. Unfortunately, they lost because I think it would be challenging for you to, if they went to the national championship game, I feel like it would be a struggle for you.
I don't think so. I have had
a drink and watch that game.
And even when that game was on, I just have had zero desire to drink. Like there's something about
but it was just me and you. Like if you had people over, you would feel like you want to drink.
I don't agree. Now, where
if you went to walk-ons and watched it, you wouldn't feel like you needed a drink?
I don't think so.
Really?
Now, because a lot of our friends are doing Dry January. Now, if they were all over here getting rowdy and drinking, well, they're doing Dry January too, so they would be over here as well. But I don't know. I don't know if this is like something I'm carrying into 2025. But so I think about the Dry January kind of tying into the fast that I did, where like there's something about me wanting to prove to myself that I can do these things, like the whole mind over matter thing. And like this is really kind of the same type of thing. Like you have to be very, very intentional and not getting, because it's like we've been out to eat. Like we went to Outback the other day, and when was the last time we went to Outback and you didn't get a drink and I didn't get a beer? That's just what you do. And we didn't, but like you have to intentionally talk yourself out of that sometime, or not even let the thought cross your mind. But I don't know. So the Dry January, I have no desire, and I don't feel like that I'm going to have any concerns with it. And we'll talk about the whole fasting thing. But I mean, there's something about when you put your mind to something and you can overcome it or accomplish it. There's something very rewarding for that.
Yeah, and so I think that's part of the whole move my body for 30 days. So I've been walking and then doing this yoga, which it's like on this little app. So it's on an app and it like has videos for you, and it's got all kinds of different types of yogas and different like, I guess, levels and different lengths of time. And I've been doing what they're considering is medium level, and it's nothing. I'm like, come on, we got to
Amp it up a little bit.
Yeah, but then last night I had done 3 of them, but so it ended up being like 40 minutes worth of yoga, but because it says you're on a 30-day program, you've done 3 out of this many workouts or whatever. And I only started it like early this week. So there's it's a little bit of a it's a push because I see this number and I'm like, hey, I haven't done it today. I need to do it today. And you see the other people are doing it or whatever. And so I was like, okay, after last night, I'm like, we got to ramp this up a little bit. But I was like, went to look at the next one and I'm like, okay, this one looks definitely more challenging, but it was 45 minutes. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. Can't do this tonight. I'm over it tonight. Tired. Plus I'm a little worried about this hip. This hip is... Plus, that's part of what I'm doing it for. Supposedly, there's yoga for menopause, but first of all, I don't see how it would help menopause. But
yeah, I need you to keep them hips working.
God almighty,
you know
this one is on a struggle bus for sure. Well, since New Year's resolutions, we don't really do, I really was feeling it prior to New Year's, right after Christmas. It probably is just that after Christmas depression, even though, we don't do a ton for Christmas Day. It's kind of, we do it beforehand. That lead up is so, like, it's just that exciting time of the year that I often experience that kind of after Christmas letdown, after Christmas depression. And I kind of equate it to like going into the new year depression. Do you ever have that kind of feeling around going into the new year?
I don't think so. And I think it would probably be even less now. Well, I take that back. I don't think I have in recent years. And I think part of the reason is because, like in real estate, it typically slows down around the holidays in November. Right. So you naturally get a little bit of a break. Whereas in, where we worked for 20 years before, like you're trying to push as much as you possibly can into getting everything done before the 31st of December. You know what I mean?
I think that's what I'm having, like residual trauma from those years of like, it was never a break. There was never a break. It was,
all right, start
like
all
you
over.
Said, push. And okay, it's a new year now. Let's keep going. And so I had that dread. It really was a dread.
I would say the dread that I used to have when we worked there was the post-profit sharing. Like, you work your ass off the year before, and then, was it March or February, whenever it was. So you're building up, and then you hear that number, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is what all the hard work was for. And then it's like, all right, we got to finish out the rest of this year. So that, to me, that's where it really kind of was a big drop off there. But I don't know. I think with being in real estate now, it's naturally going to... but I enjoy it because you can sit back and enjoy the holidays. I mean, you can choose to go balls to the wall, whatever. I mean, you're self-employed.
Which you did. So you had some times where you had to like step away and go do some things. Yeah,
and I appreciate that and I enjoy it. But compared to like a spring or a summer, it's not the same type of thing. So, but yeah.
I wonder when things ramp up if you are going to get too busy to do this podcast this summer.
That would be a good problem to have. We will cross that bridge when we get there. If not, we may need to bring in some individuals to take my spot for
auditions. I'll put the requirements out.
Yes, actually, you should drop some requirements. Say, do you meet these qualifications? Some are negotiable.
Hot.
I mean, to replace me, yes.
Yeah, gotta be hot.
What else?
Have a great personality.
What else?
I'm a sucker for a great personality. Witty.
Have a southern drawl or?
Oh my God, really gorgeous eyes would be great. Also.
I'm doo-doo brown.
Tall.
Doo-doo brown. All right, you about to piss me. You need to stop now because you end up saying something I'm gonna get mad about. So.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so it's been 25 years, and so that made me start thinking about Y2K. It's been 25 years since it went from 1999 to the year 2000.
And you were working that night.
Yes,
yeah.
I was working that night. Do you remember, what were you doing that night? Were you partying like it was 1999?
Probably. I really don't know. I can't recall, but I'm sure.
What year did that song come out?
Party Like It's 1999?
The Prince's?
I don't know.
Is that what it's called? Party Like It's 1999?
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Wasn't it before 1999?
Yeah, it had to have been because it was out in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it probably was coming out.
So I was at Geico. I was working. It was, I don't think I was working the overnight shift at that point yet. I think it was just a normal like 4 to midnight type of thing, or like 5. I actually probably was like 5 to 1, 6 to 2. And we were trying to make it fun for the associates. So we did like a pajama party and we had snacks, goodie table, stuff like that. But really, nobody had any idea what was going to happen.
You're like holding your breath.
Yeah. I mean, and I was young and stupid back then. Like, we didn't really have. I mean, at that point, we probably had dial-up internet at home. Like, it wasn't like I was sitting around on the computer. You didn't have a phone in your hand constantly that Google everything. And I'm not a news watcher. Like, I'm not a doomsday, sit around thinking about what's, how life is going to end and stuff like that. So I don't like watching the news. I don't, like, if something's going on in the world, it's going to, most likely, you're going to tell me. My friends might tell me. Or
Jackson's going to tell me. Jackson's going to give you the conspiracy theory side of it.
He's going to watch it. He's going to watch all of it, right? And so I had no idea. Like, I knew that we were concerned that all the clocks weren't going to change over. Because they were all programmed to go up to like 1999, but they weren't programmed to flip over
to zeros.
Yeah. And we watched that video. Remember we watched that video talking about all those things? And that's where I had learned that they had done a whole, Google or whoever, Microsoft had put out fixes for all these things. But as far as at Geico, I knew we still weren't sure if our computers
Well, and maybe they put these fixes out but didn't tell people just in case something backfired. I don't know.
Because I remember literally people were taking their money out of the banks because they were afraid that you weren't going to be able to get into the bank and get your money at that point. They weren't sure if your debit cards were going to work, like all these crazy things. And we're like counting down. I mean, we're literally sitting at our computers, like watching it. We're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And it's like 9, 8, 7. And we get to it and just like flip. It was like,
in your entire
somebody
life,
tried a transaction and we're like,
cool.
Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, cool.
In your entire life,
It's the most anticlimactic thing ever.
I was just about to say, can you think of anything else that was more anticlimactic than that?
Yes, there's one thing.
What are you going to say? The first time you had sex?
No. I was going to say.
So you trying to say the first time was great? No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Go for it.
You know what was anticlimactic?
What?
The year you went and bought all my Christmas presents at one store.
Oh my gosh.
And tried to put me in that fucking. It was a vest, right?
I think it was like a sweater of some sort.
A sweater. It was something. What was it?
I don't remember.
It was the god awfulest ugly thing ever, and then got me that platter,
which I thought was a good idea, but
it was ugly.
I was off that week. I was off that year.
Did not match. Didn't even match. But you thought because it was Georgia, I would like it outside.
Yeah.
Didn't even match.
Yeah.
Like zero consideration.
Okay.
That
was my off year.
It was your off year. That was your only off year.
Huh?
That was your only.
Oh, I thought you said it wasn't. I was like, no. I normally do good.
You normally do right, and you've always done very well since. Because that was not. A matter of fact, we should try to find the video of that Christmas video.
No, you do not want people to realize the real RBF because
that was horrible.
I'll be honest with you. I took the heat on that year, but I felt I got upset because I felt like there was a certain level of ungratefulness, regardless of whether or not it was the best Christmas or not. And that kind of set me off a little bit.
Well, it set me off that you didn't put any thought to it. Yeah. Also, so it went both ways. But
so
yes,
I try to be very thoughtful now.
On my part, I agree, and I regretted it after the fact.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I couldn't help it.
So I try to be much more mindful and thoughtful and intentional with my stuff now. So
correct. We just don't give gifts anymore.
You stupid.
Oh, so anyway, I just thought thinking back on Y2K was crazy to me.
It was the thing. Like everyone was worried about it. Everyone was scared.
And that's been 25 years ago. That's crazy. So Courtney sent me a TikTok the other day, and I knew this, but also still watching it kind of blows my mind. So I turned 49 in December. Well, you've turned 49, but technically you've already lived your entire 49th year.
Girl, I try to have this conversation with you.
Do you disagree or agree with that?
Well, so the question becomes, so when you say you're 50 years old,
right.
Does that mean you've lived 50 years, or does that mean you're going into your 50th year?
It means you've lived 50 years. So I'm currently living my 50th year.
Correct.
Which is
to me, it seems like you should be 50.
But you can't, because you're not a year old until you've been on the planet a year. So, but you've lived that first year is technically.
I guess when you're born,
year.
you're not one until you've hit your first year.
Correct. When you're born,
that
your
makes
clock
sense.
starts at 0.
Yeah, I struggled with this one day, and I tried to bring it up to you, and you looked at me like I was an idiot.
No.
But I was like,
I never do that.
So anyways, was there more to that? You lived 49 years. So what are you trying to say?
Well, all I'm trying to say is, bitch sent that to me and like pissed me off. I'm like, okay, now I'm just irritated.
Oh.
Now I'm just irritated that I'm living my 50th year. That's not right.
So instead of having until December 16th of next year
to prepare
for 50 to hit you, you're already letting 50 slap you in the face right now.
It's what it seems like, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, you have gotten better with it. And I'm not just saying that because I want to get lucky tonight. I'm saying that because I really and truly feel like you've gotten better with age.
I have gotten better with age. You mean looks-wise, or you mean like personality? What do you mean exactly?
Definitely personality. Your looks.
I feel like I gave you too many answers.
No, your looks, yes. I feel like
with one on your own.
feel like your disposition, your outlook on life, I think has gotten better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, for so many years, and it's crazy. I try to have these conversations with Jackson to get him to understand. It's kind of like those you like to remember, like, don't make the mistakes I did. Like, I do things different, and so I'm trying to sort of have those conversations with him. Like ease it into the conversation of, don't get so wrapped up in money. Don't get so wrapped up in judging your life and by how much you have in the bank right that second, because when you do it really when you constantly think about what you don't have, it continues to keep you in the pattern of not having. So, and it's a loop.
Yeah.
And I was in that loop for so many years, just worried, we're living paycheck to paycheck. Well, most everybody's living paycheck to paycheck, and everybody has been living paycheck to paycheck, but you still go do the things you want to do. So it's not like we really didn't do a ton of things that we wanted to do. Maybe taking a vacation here or there more, or, purchased a luxury item maybe here or there more, but ultimately...
Well, I used to buy the hell out of some shoes.
You did. And so I try to, instill that in him now, but it's hard because he grew up even though I didn't necessarily speak it to him, possibly, he saw me doing it, and I'm sure he did, because I'm sure I said this statement, we can't afford that, we can't afford that, we can't afford that, and I've learned in the last 8 to 10 years of it, I don't want to say that. What I want to say is, how can I afford that? How can I afford that? Or, I'm not aligned with that right now. That's not aligned with my goals right this second. How, versus the constant I can't. Because if I keep saying I can't, then you can't. And my dad, that's the one thing, I don't have a whole lot of memories of my dad, but the one thing I do remember is he would say, when I would say something about I can't, he was like, don't tell me what you can't do. That's the one thing I remember him always saying to me.
Well, and I think not only is it out of alignment too, but it's you're kind of living in a constant state of like disappointment all the time. And it's like how can you be happy and grateful and content? Like, how can you be all those things if you're like constantly saying no, or constantly saying I can't, or constantly saying the whys, it's just no, you just figure out how
and
to
I'm not saying like go into major debt, but it's, you can't take it with you. And what our experience has been is that we are not living necessarily as long as we would hope, most of us, and so enjoy it while you can. And I think I've just really come more into that in the last couple. I mean, I've been spiritual. I've been into these practices for a while, but I think the last year just gave me
so much more time.
Oh my God, so much more time to really dive deep into these things and what I understand and learn and know and accept. And so, it's been a lot easier.
Good.
It doesn't mean I'm not gonna have days where I'm depressed, because I still have those. You would look at me and be like, she has absolutely nothing in life to be depressed about. Agree, absolutely. I'm still gonna have those days where I'm down. It's just the way that it is, and the way that I'm made. So anyway, you want to tell us? Okay? So I've seen a lot of people, and I did it last year, and I couldn't find them. I don't know where they are. Ins and outs. It may not be as much of a guy thing. Maybe it's more of a girl thing. But they do this on TikTok a lot. The ins and outs of
the year.
Yeah. So like, what are you taking into? What do you want to take into 2025, and what do you want to leave behind in 2024? Do you have anything like off the top of the head?
The first thing that comes to my mind is like any drama associated with Lauren last year, because there was a lot of stuff that had changes and stuff that happened last year and even into the year before that. But I feel like that things are starting to normalize pretty well. I feel like she's kind of finding her groove. And so something I'd want to leave in 2024 is that, and see her be successful in 25 and help facilitate that as much as we can, because, you know, with the program that she's in, I mean, it's only a couple of years long. So it's not like we're saying, okay.
Well, she's got to get into the program.
Well, that's true, you know, but it's not like we're going to say, okay, we got to see this through for the next 6 years. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that.
Your lips to God's ears.
If she gets into the program, or when she gets into the program, it will be a little bit more swift. But I think that the trajectory that I see her being on now, I think is a much better place than over the last year and a half, 2 years.
She has a plan, and she is working that plan, and so that's all going to work out. We're just going to put that into existence.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I want to make sure that I don't take, and it kind of gets back to this mind over matter thing, is I think I spent a lot of 2024 comparing myself to other people in my business.
Yep.
But again, I think I alluded to this on one of the last episodes, is like, I've been doing this for a year, you know, and even though I've been in real estate for, 3.5 years now, I've been doing the production, the sales side of it for just a little over a year now. And there's a lot of these people who've been doing it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And so,
takes time.
Yeah. And so I have to constantly remind myself, I can gain from them, and I can see what they're doing and try to mimic some of it and replicate some of it and make some of it my own. But I have to make sure that I'm not comparing myself solely based on numbers. You know what I mean? I've got to say, okay, look, I did 3.5 million this year. I need to do 6 million next year. I need to do 9 million. And I have to be happy with hitting those numbers. And I feel like if I can stay focused on that, and which I will, I don't see any reason I can't make that happen. So
yeah, absolutely. You've done a fantastic job, and it's just gonna continue. I think the only thing that could make it better is if you would listen to me and my ideas that I have. But that's what
you have a lot of great ideas.
What I want you to do and what you're aligned with are different. I just have to understand that.
Or maybe you just need to be a little bit more proactive and just go do it. That's a possibility, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's not really the option. But
so, what do you see yourself taking with you or leaving with you?
So this is one that I really want to leave into 2024. And I don't know that I can, but I'm really going to try, is the feeling of being left out. Because I feel like I definitely had those feelings in 2024, and maybe the year before in some capacity. And I really want to leave that in 2024. I really want, and I feel like I feel like I'm really in my spot and I'm really happy where I'm at. Like I'm like so like cuddled down on our house. It's verging.
You're as happy as these dogs are laying on the couch.
It's verging on the line of like unhealthy, probably, of me wanting to leave the house. And so I got to be careful of that. But I want to leave that in the past. I want to leave in the imposter syndrome. I think that's so hard for everybody. Everybody is going to compare themselves. There are very few people that don't compare themselves to others. So I want to leave that.
Focus.
I know, sorry.
I swear.
Focus. I want to focus in 2025.
There's no way you're right. Exactly. That's what you need to take with you. My gosh.
I don't know. I didn't do an ins and outs list this year. I did one last year, but this year I want to be done with ins and outs list.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm not
Okay.
going to take a list.
Not gonna
I'm
take
just
it with
going to
us. So
I'm
we're
gonna
leaving
be,
a whole bunch
you know
of
what
shit in 2024.
Well, yes. I'll tell you one big thing that I am leaving in 2024. I am leaving the judgment of myself and judging myself for not being where I feel like I should be based on the way society thinks that where I should be. And I'm going to really accept just where I am, loving myself for all the experiences that I've
Be
had,
in the moment.
loving myself for all the things that I'm learning, and knowing that, you know, that is part of my gift, and that's what makes me special. What makes me valuable to other people is because I'm willing to learn all these things that they don't have the time or feel like doing. And I'm going to figure all that out, but I'm just going to love myself more through that, because that I was very, very hard on myself last year, for that piece of it. So I feel like I'm finally getting to a spot where I can just really, really
Good.
be happy.
I'm excited for you.
So
I'm excited for us.
I'm also excited for us. I'm excited for making a grocery list and getting groceries delivered in 2025.
What does that have? That's so stupid.
Are you kidding me? Do you not remember like the biggest fight the last time we
Sure,
were going to
I
get divorced
remember.
in 2024?
I remember saying yes. Let's not bring it back
Oh
up.
my God.
Good gosh.
I would love to revisit it, because I would really love to know if you feel differently today on that than you did then.
Absolutely not.
No. So it's still all about the groceries?
Well, it was not all about the groceries. It's all
not.
about, there's only a few things you need to do.
Oh, good God. Yeah.
Groceries
let's
being
leave
one
that.
of them.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Right, exactly.
Right, let's just leave
We're
it.
going to have to agree to disagree.
We're going to have to agree.
But
to
you know,
disagree
you
on that.
say that, but you've been Johnny on the spot since that argument. So, I mean.
And you haven't offered to go not one damn time. So.
You've only gone once or twice since. But anyway, let's not bring it back up.
Yeah, let's not bring it back up.
Yeah.
I didn't really have to do that much grocery shopping last week, because you decided to go on this fast that I didn't want you to go on. I think it's stupid.
Why do you think it's stupid?
I don't necessarily, I guess, think it's stupid. I don't think it's the right thing for you in our life, because I know how you are. However, you wanted to do it. You apparently in 2025 want to prove to yourself that it's my... Please stop shaking your leg, for the love of God.
I do love God, so I'm going to stop.
You wanted to prove to yourself the whole mind over matter and that you can do it, and you did. So, bravo.
Why didn't you want me to do it?
Because I know how you get on the regular.
Okay.
You can ask anybody in our friend group, any female in our friend group, you can ask about you being hangry, and they all have an experience and have seen you get hangry over not eating from lunch until fucking dinner time. So you could see where I would be concerned that going for 3 days without food, it would be a nightmare to be around you.
So how did you feel when that nightmare did not happen?
I was glad.
Okay.
I was glad. And I tried to be very positive about it. I didn't say you shouldn't do it. I didn't say this is stupid. I didn't, walk around mumbling about it or whatever. I tried to be very supportive of it. I did the first 24-hour fast with you, which is pretty simple. But I was hungry. By 24 hours, your girl was hungry. Your girl wanted to eat. So I ate. I didn't keep going.
Well, I appreciate your...
So tell us about it.
I appreciate your support. So a friend of mine in the real estate world, Dio, was like, hey, let's do this fast, a 3-day fast. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Dio's a good guy. I'll just roll with it. Next thing you know, there's a group of us. And if you know Dio, he's going to get a group together no matter what. Like, we started this golf group with like 6 teams now. It's like 25 teams. We play monthly, yada, yada, yada. So that's just kind of the way he is. But I will tell you that group really, really helped as well. But I went into it with the thought that, look, there's probably no way I'm going to be able to get through it. But I wanted to prove to myself that I could. And honestly, so we've done one 24-hour fast before. Mm-hmm. And it sucked. I felt like by the next day, it was like I'm ready to eat like I did last night. And so, honestly, the first 24 hours, I wouldn't say it was simple, but it was not really challenging at all. Like it was pretty easy. And then we get into the second 24 hours, And the only real symptom that I had was a little bit of reflux
Mm-hmm.
started to kind of creep in a little bit. I do know that I didn't drink as much water as I needed to. It's hard for me to just sit there and just drink water. I think because I prefer water cold, and it's maybe not as easy to just sit there and
And I thought you drank a lot more water than I guess that you do. I don't know why. I think because you have your cup with
yeah.
you, but I'm guessing it's that energy drink packet that you make, which
Well,
is
for the first part of the day, like in the first part of the morning, and then I might refill that thing once or twice a day. So at the most, you're probably talking about a half gallon at the most.
yeah.
But you're right, I always have it there with me because I do like to take a little sips on it and that kind of thing. But I don't drink a ton of water. But so anyhow, the hunger kind of set in a little bit. Wasn't too bad. I tell you where the last part of it, and I was telling this to the group today, is from from getting up in the morning on the last day to the 6 o'clock. That last 12 hours was by far the worst.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because for the first 60 hours, I had convinced myself eating is not an option. And I got it out of my head. It's like, it's not going to happen. But in that last 12 hours, you're now in the day that you're going to be eating.
Right.
And all you could think about was getting to that
that
6 o'clock, and that last 12 hours was brutal. The last 4 to 5 hours was absolutely brutal. But to me, it just kind of reinforces the whole mind over matter thing. It's like how is it that I went 60 hours without eating anything at all, and I was hungry, but I wasn't like dying.
right.
To the last 12 hours, you're now like, oh my god, and so
Was your stomach like growling a ton the last
It
12
it was
hours?
growling more for sure. I don't know that it was like physically, but you could feel a hunger differently than you could for the first 60 hours.
Yeah.
Well, really for the first 66. It was really the last 6 hours that were the worst. But anyhow, but I honestly I kind of I was happy with being able to do it. And when I said like I didn't eat anything.
I know.
We gave one of the guys on the group a hard time because we found out about halfway through he was chewing gum to like occupy, and he didn't realize that was breaking the fast, and so we were giving him a hard time about it. The only thing that I did is I used my energy packet in the mornings, cause and that was all that I did outside of an electrolyte powder that I got that I did like one a day that was hard to stomach. But anyhow, um, there was somewhere I was going with that. I'm sorry.
The calories.
Yeah, so the calories, I mean, but literally nothing else besides that, and
And you didn't feel hangry.
I didn't feel hungry at all.
So that's what's so interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah, and so I don't know. Again, it kind of gets back. Oh, so what I said to the group was, what this made me realize is when you say you're hungry every day at lunchtime and breakfast, and you only think that you're hungry. But
Mm-hmm.
you're really not. Like your body can go for 3 days without eating if you want to, but it's you only think that because your mind's telling you. You've only been brainwashed your entire life. You got to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and so it was. I mean, it to me it was a really interesting experience, and I think that your support was great. Like the first 24 hours was cool, but it was, you tried to intentionally not snack around me. I put the snacks that we have laying out, I put them up. You didn't bitch about that. You had made, I don't want to cook around you because I don't want you to smell it. That didn't bother me. I was so dialed in. And like even Lauren, like y'all went and got food and didn't want to come eat in front of me because you were fearful that I was going to see it or smell. Like I appreciate that because, and I told someone else who was going to participate and they didn't end up doing it. He's like, my mind just wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, next time, dude, don't worry about it. But I said, but make sure that your spouse is on board with it because she could either make this much simpler or she can make it very challenging because you could have been bitching about what am I supposed to do for dinner? You could have been, bringing popcorn to the couch while we're watching a movie. I mean, you could have done a lot of things. And so I appreciate you doing that. And even though it wasn't, for you or nothing that you really thought I needed to do, it was very helpful. And then having the guy group, texting about because we're making jokes about I'm about to eat my wrist off, and we're making jokes about I'm in the Arby's line right now, and I mean just constantly being able to kind of see what everyone's going through. You know, are you losing weight? Are you urinating? Are you tired? Are you working out? Are you going to the sauna? But we're all kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. So it was cool, man. It was a fellowship experience as well with those group of guys, and of course Dio's already like, what are we gonna do next? You know, and
God.
so
Yeah, I was excited because I didn't have to cook for 2 nights. Like that's 2 nights I didn't have to worry about planning something to cook, and 2 nights that I didn't have to cook, and it added so many more hours. I felt like to my day. I was like, this is amazing. If we can go like with Kent not eating dinner from here on out, my life might actually be perfect.
yeah. But I'm interested, you know, because there's pros and cons to doing stuff like this, and there's theories everywhere. What I understand from what I've read is, you know, when you get to that 48 hours and above, that's really where the magic starts to happen. You know, your metabolism kind of hits a reset. I think your cells, I don't want to misquote this because I'm not a doctor, but I think your cells maybe start to regenerate at that point. I think some of your bad cells kind of get put out of your body, or they regenerate into good cells. And I was talking to another buddy of mine before we even started this, and we were talking about fasting and so forth. And he had even implied that that's why a lot of people that are really into this, they will do that as a preventative for cancer, because they know that your cells regenerate and all this other stuff, and so they will do it as their way of fighting off cancer. And I was like, you know, I mean, to the point where they do like 30-day fast. I mean, obviously I can't do anything like that, but it was cool. And here's the other thing that I really appreciate is, you knew that my fast was breaking at 6:01.
Yes, you did not let me forget
No,
that.
and I wasn't, but you could have been a total asshole about it. You could have been like, "Babe, this is not my fast. I will get dinner done when I'm going to get dinner done." Because I feel like before you would have done that. You would have gotten frustrated
What?
with it. You would have been whatever. Because I probably would have been hangry. But when I tell you, like, our dinner was ready at 6 o'clock on the dot for me to make a plate and start eating at 6:01, it was, could not have timed it perfect, and it was the best meal I've ever had. So.
Well, I'm glad that you did it, and I'm glad that you were able to get through it. I think that it shows that you can do it, so that next time when dinner's not ready, when you expect it to be ready, or you're hangry, and be like, oh, hold on a second, you went 72 hours, you didn't eat, you were just fine, you didn't have any hangry. And I think it's funny that, like, I've told you, I don't know, for however long, you're like, I've got to eat. And I'm like, no, you actually don't have to eat. Like, you will be fine. You will survive. And you're like, no, you've got to eat. And I'm like, no, it's like, I'm glad that you've realized that, but it's also kind of frustrating. Like, I've been telling you this shit for a very long time, but for whatever reason, the guys group does it, and it's like, oh, okay, you get on board.
Well, but you got to realize too, like, I changed a couple of things during this. Like, I didn't go to the gym. And when I go to the gym, like, when I get home, I'm legit hungry. And I think that it fuels me being hungry throughout the day. Whereas I intentionally didn't go to the gym, except I did the sauna on the last day, which is not really working out. And I did some ab stuff around the house and whatnot. But even those little exercises I did around the house, like, they were somewhat exhausting. So, and of course, if you're up working and you move, like, the situation was slightly different. But even today, so I had a banana and like a blueberry muffin this morning, and at lunchtime it was like 12:30 rolled around. I'm like, I'm not really that hungry, but then like one, and then, what was crazy? I was sitting there trying to make a decision: do I even eat lunch? But what's odd? This is odd to a lot of people.
It's odd that at 12:30 you were trying to make that decision, because 11:30 you would have been munching down.
My number one craving
Was your ham sandwich?
through the last 3 days was my ham, bologna, and cheese sandwich at lunch. However crazy that sounds. So I was like, damn it, even if I'm not, like, I don't have to eat today for lunch, I'm going to, because that was my number one craving, was to eat my ham, bologna, and cheese sandwich.
I think that's where the whole dinner thing gets thrown off, is because I don't eat breakfast in the morning, and then I typically will not be hungry until like 1, and sometimes
2 or 3.
and sometimes it's either 2:30 before I finally get around to actually being hungry to where I want to eat.
This is where my frustration sets in.
Right, and so I'm listening to my body, and I wait to eat until that time frame, but then it causes an issue, because then you're hungry at 5 o'clock, and I'm like, oh,
Or 6,
I
yeah.
just ate. Like, I literally could go the rest of the night and not eat. But me cooking dinner for you and then not eating, like, that's not going to happen either. Like, I'm not going to not eat when I've cooked for you. Like, that's just, so, I don't know. I don't know how to find a happy medium for that.
So anyways, I think we will have a happy medium. I was super pumped about it.
Okay, so now here's another issue for me. So you said that Dave's already said, okay, what are we doing next?
Right.
And what he's saying is reading some book.
He threw that out there.
What's the book?
I can't remember. I can find it if you want me to.
You can't remember like what
It's something with 40. The number 40 in it. I do know that. Hold on, we just.
But is there a genre? Is it a self-help? Is it a...
Hold on real quick. It's called Take Your Life Back, a 40-day interactive journey to thinking right so you can level right. By Levo and Lusko, it looks like.
Okay, so are you guys going to do this?
I don't know. The verdict is still out. It didn't seem to be a whole lot of optimism about it, but, people could be working. They may not be responding and that kind of thing. So.
Okay, so what's your feeling on it?
My feeling is if I'm going to read a book, it's going to be only because I'm in a group that's doing this kind of time.
Okay, so what's the difference of this group versus me saying, hey, why you should do this, or why don't you do this?
Because when you say, hey, you should do this, or why don't you do this, who am I doing it with?
So if I said, hey, I want you to read this book with me, would you read this book with me and we'll sit down and talk about it?
Depending on what kind of book it is, possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Why depending?
Well, because I think a lot of times you can read 25 spiritual books, and I like that, but I don't know that I'm into it quite as much as you are. But I feel like if you and I were to read a book together and talk about it together and whatever, that's my success rate with that's going to be much higher than you should go read this book.
Like, this book is sounding like you're going to be doing some journaling, and
maybe
like it's thought provoking that you need to like write your thoughts down,
maybe
type
yeah,
of thing,
or talk about them
and you're willing to do that.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I feel like you're getting defensive.
No, what I'm saying is I feel like you're already telling me the way I feel, and I'm telling you, no, I don't know.
I'm just saying it's interesting to me that you're willing to do it with a group of guys, but you're not willing to do that with me.
I just explained that to you.
You just want me to tell you things.
No, I just explained it to you. You have never once come to me and said, let's read this book together and let's talk about it. It's always, you need to go read this or you should read that. Because I'm a reader, you should be a reader. Because I'm a reader, you shouldn't watch TV. Because I'm a reader, you shouldn't, and I'm like, the fuck? I mean, just because you're a reader, you can't push that on me. And I feel like that your approach is always, you should do that. And that approach is not going to work with me. But I don't think there's ever really been a time where it's like, hey, I found this book at the bookstore. I'd love for us to sit down and read it together. Whether or not we're reading it separately and talking about it, or you're reading to me, there's no way you want me reading to you. But that is a much, much different approach, and I would be much more open to that versus you need to go be reading a book because I'm a reader.
Okay. Well, I've got a
That
book.
would be like me saying you should go to the gym because I go to the gym.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. I've got a book in mind, so I'll get it and I'll try that approach and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because you remember you used to read to me. Like, I loved it. I always thought it was cool.
Yeah, that was like the
romance
but
novel.
still, like the sex part.
But
that's
still,
what you wanted to hear.
Yeah, no,
but I'm not trying to read a book to you.
No, I don't want to, like, I did want to hear the sex part, but it was like I used to lay in my head in your lap and you read. Like, I thought that was cool. Not that I don't have mommy issues or anything. I'm just saying. I thought it was cool. That was kind of our thing there for a little bit. So
this is interesting. But if Dave's listening, like, I need you. We ain't doing this fast every month.
No, and it's funny because somebody in that group has already said a monthly fast, and I was like, well, look. I'm getting a colonoscopy done February 27th, so I'm good for another 48 hours. You know what I'm saying? But part of me is also like, if I do some research on it and I find that, let's say, a 48-hour fast is really beneficial, maybe not as much as a 72, but much more than a 24. Like I could see me doing a 48-hour fast once a month or maybe once a quarter. And now that I've done 72 hours. Like 48 hours doesn't seem like anything. 24 hours definitely doesn't seem like anything. You know what I mean? So we'll see. The verdict is still out whether or not it's, healthy or whether or not it really helps you. I mean, you've got like Joe Rogan, and you got what's his name, UFC guy, Dana White. I mean, they're really really big into this kind, and there's a ton of people that are, but
Yeah.
I want to put a little bit more research into it, because if it really and truly is beneficial for your body, I can certainly do it if it's for the
if
health.
they're saying it fights off cancer, the cancer cells, and I think they're just talking about like bad cells, which I've listened to some a lady who has her own skincare line, and she's talking about the things that she's trying to develop or whatever, and there is something to this, because she is talking something about, and I don't know that she was saying fasting, but she definitely was talking about some of the ways that your cells, that she calls them vampire cells. There's something about the way that they like regenerate and attack the the bad,
abnormal cells. Yeah.
and so there's definitely something to all that. So I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Do you remember your words that you want to try to start using in your vocabulary that are
from Love Island, Australia.
Yes.
What, can I look at them?
Yeah.
I can't remember without looking.
We need everybody to weigh in.
Because I need definitions for each of them too. One of them is cheeky.
Cheeky.
I think that's like good looking, witty. I think
it's like silly, like sarcastic.
The verdict's still out on that. Fit, which we know he's good looking or whatever. Bloke. Mm-hmm. I would like to be bloke. Hey, bloke.
He's a fit looking bloke.
Yeah. Crack on. Crack on was one I wasn't exactly sure from the context clues exactly what it meant, but we're going to look that up.
Is crack on basically like gang gang?
Gang gang will absolutely be in my vocabulary.
Gang gang is
not nearly as much as him though. It gets overdone very very quickly.
If you guys have not watched Love Island Australia, I wasn't going to watch it, but Jackson and Ashley watched it, and they're like, Jackson's like, Mom, you got to watch it. You've got to watch it. If you loved Love Island USA, you're gonna love this. You gotta watch it. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know. Okay, so we pull it up. We're like, we're gonna watch the first episode and see if it grabs us. And we're like, okay, this is fine. We watched the second episode, and then I think we finally went into
kind of really getting to know everyone.
And I'm like, okay, so we're I suppose kind of hooked into it, but like it's a commitment, because it's like 29 episodes and they're an hour long. But it's over, like it's already been done, so they're all out there, so you can definitely binge it, but I mean, you're losing a day and a half of your life completely if you do it all
one time
together. But there's one guy on there from TikTok, and that's where Gang Gang Tommy, he's from TikTok, and he's
a nut job.
He eats raw eggs on TikTok. If you've seen the guy eating raw eggs on TikTok with the horrible mullet and mo.
Where's Mo? A Mo is another one. Yeah, they all have Mo's. They all have mustache.
He's on there, so.
And then the other one that we took from that is outside of Gang Gang is a Bucks and a Hens Party, which we're saying we think is equivalent to like a bachelor or bachelorette party.
Yeah, definitely is.
Now what I'm unsure of is it related to a bachelor and a bachelorette party only, or is it related to male and female strippers? I got the sense that it was a male and female stripper thing.
No, I think it's just the bachelor party.
The party
itself.
It's
the party itself. And they are associating that party having strippers, basically.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've been to bachelor parties where they're strippers, and I've been to ones where they're not strippers. So I don't know. So that's why I was a little confused. But I want to work some of this in.
Guaranteed.
Especially Gang Gang will definitely be in there. That's probably my I'm going to be more intentional with that. Gang Gang.
So we haven't watched it in a good. I don't think we've watched any yesterday.
Well, we had it on.
We had it on when I was taking Christmas down.
Yeah,
but
we couldn't. Yeah, we need to go back like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So.
Or maybe we
just skip them.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
But it's good. We enjoy that. And then there was something else. Oh, I was gonna. So I don't think I'm not sure if I told you about this or not. So I got on TikTok a couple of weeks ago and went down this rabbit hole of watching people that are telling about this crazy situation where this chick named Jess was impersonating a guy named Brody, and she was catfishing women as Brody. And so
she's a woman.
She's a woman.
Okay.
And I go down this rabbit hole, and
was this the podcast you were listening to? Okay.
It led me to the podcast, Something Was Wrong.
Something Was Wrong. That's the name of the podcast.
It's the name of the podcast.
How would one get to this on TikTok? Put Something Was Wrong? Do you know?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
think
probably
we
could put Jess and Brody on there, and it probably would come up too. But it kind of ties into that it ends with us movie, sort
Okay.
of. I kind of want to
Put all
tie
together,
those together. So maybe we do talk about that next time.
Yeah. So if you've seen it or heard of it or whatever, kind of
It's
weigh
crazy.
in.
I want to
But
tell you because
yeah.
I've not told you anything about it.
No,
Right?
I've only heard bits
Yeah.
and pieces
I
of
think
it. So
it would be interesting. I think to our perspectives
yeah,
as
let's
a
start with that next time.
parent also to talk
Yeah,
about it.
let's start with that next time.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Happy
We wish
New
everyone
Year.
health,
Wealth,
prosperity, abundance,
health,
love. You already said health.
good joint,
a lot of sex.
joint lubricant.
Joint lubricant. What? Thought you were going to.
Look at that sleep face.
Yeah. These dogs, boy. All right. Are we out?
Yep. All right. Love
Deuces.
you. Bye.